are my friends. Come along with me, see how the story ends.
Welcome back to another very special episode of Professional Hippies. I'm your host, Colton. This is Dylan. And Dylan, will you join me?
The Queen!
The Queen! My lovely fiance, Abbey Rogers.
Hello, hello.
Joining us for the second time. So if you heard the inaugural episode, be sure to tune in for this one because we're going to kind of cue you up on what she's been up to lately, some of the events that have happened, transpired, growth that's taken place. And I'm really excited to dig into that. So how you doing, babe?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I was literally reflecting as we were getting everything set up, and the last episode was like a year and a half ago. So it's been since the fall of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So that's wild because it doesn't feel like it's been that long.
So you feel like it hasn't been that long, or
Just a few things have changed.
It doesn't feel like it's been that long ago, but when I reflect back, I'm like, holy shit, that was a long fucking time ago. So I'm like, wow, where's the time gone?
Now, for those that haven't heard that episode, we have MPP.
MPP, Manifestation Pleasure Portal.
We have, give me another program.
That I do now or back then?
I guess, yeah, that's a solid question, right?
If I had to tell you exactly everything I said on that one, I just genuinely don't remember. It's been that long, and my life has drastically changed as well as what my offering is. So,
But that was really close to when,
that was the birthing period of Manifestation Pleasure Portal. Like, she is coming out of the womb and ready to be seen into the world of what she is. That is that time period. And since then, we have expanded quite a bit.
I never get tired of hearing that.
Just a few expansions.
Just a few.
That's what life's all about.
It's
Expansion.
just the portal of life is that she's come out of. Yeah.
So what do you feel like has changed since then to now?
What hasn't changed? We got engaged. Personal win. Hallelujah. In regards
Burning
of work-wise.
Something to point out.
What? The engagement? I got a ring.
I said at Burning Man.
At Burning Man. We got engaged at Burning Man,
Bam.
which was a bucket list moment that I actually manifested to the day. Before we were ever dating, I manifested me and my soulmate going to Burning Man, and then I got engaged
and just
there.
to point out to that, just something funny that happened is that, of course, all women usually want to wear the ring pretty quick, want to keep it on once you get it. And we're out in the middle of Burning Man out in the desert. And he's like, all right, awesome. We're going to put that back.
Well, to be fair, he also got three
And you're
sizes
like,
too big.
I want to keep wearing that.
Yeah, I was 3 sizes too big. It didn't make sense to wear, but of course I wanted to wear it.
Yeah, I just don't want to take any chances.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, that was when we pulled an all-nighter. So I totally understand that. What else has changed? In regards of work, when I last came on, I was still working with the other company that we both worked at, and I no longer work there.
Oh, is that the company we do not speak of?
No.
Okay.
We know we speak of it. I don't have any shame around it. I just I didn't feel the need to say the name.
I'm with you.
It's where we met. There's a whole thing of it, all positive. And I went all out on my business. I got certified as a sex love relationship coach. And now I have transitioned into feminine embodiment and soul-led biz coaching. So it has been a wild ride of growth and experiences.
Certainly has been. I mean, that's one of the things that Dylan and I were excited to have you back on is because, one, you're such a big part of my life, but two, it's like a snapshot of just the growth from where we were at in the back of the Tampa house to now. Dylan's got his own studio going. I got my own studio going. We got like a whole little ecosystem building.
Whole ecosystem. And I feel like I was a lot more nervous the first time I came on because I think that was one of the first podcasts I was ever on. And now I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. I'm free spoken, just like very grounded in myself and authenticity.
Oh, I bet. Especially after all those, your content, you can't be nervous posting that kind of stuff. So coming on here has got to be nothing, I would assume.
You mean all the orgasms that I post about? Yeah, no, once you start posting about that,
Oh, yeah.
any shame that could have been there is out the door.
What kind of pushback have you gotten from posting content like that?
Yeah.
I think the biggest pushback is I get called a witch a lot, which to me is like the highest form of a compliment. I like being called a little witch.
A witch?
A little witch. I think the other pushback that I get is that witches used to get burned at the stakes for like witchcraft because it was considered demonic. And manifestation pleasure portal is essentially using your orgasm to manifest what it is that you want. And so a lot of the time people view manifesting as demonic, or it's what the devil does. And so it's a lot of like very religious, like, but not, I wouldn't even necessarily say like religious, but like very much like they only listen to the book and they have no other point of view and they're not open to seeing that. And so anyone that speaks of anything different, they're just like, she's wrong, she's bad, that's so inappropriate, she's a young woman. I think that's a thing too, right? It's like women aren't allowed to talk about sexual energy, but men can talk about all the girls they have sex with and it's completely normal. So that's a big pushback as well.
What's your favorite one?
The witch.
The witch?
I love being called
I know
a witch.
you love to antagonize a little bit.
Oh, I absolutely love to antagonize, but it's all, for me, it's fun. I love when people leave hate comments because hate comments means that I'm doing something right in the world because it means I'm going against the grain of what they've been taught. And if you stick in the grain of what you've been taught in this box, then where's the free thinking? Where's the expansion that's made to happen? It's an opportunity to think differently.
So these guys are calling you witches, I'm just curious, is there like a demographic? Is it people, have you ever looked into it where they're from, where they're calling it that? Is it like Bible pushers? Is it somewhere on the other side of the world? I'm curious.
Yeah, as you're saying this, it's mostly men in America, white men, white middle-aged men. Not that I hate white men. I'm marrying a ginger. So, like, let's be honest. But there is one, like, as you say that, there's one comment that distinctly sticks out to me. And it's not the first time that someone of this demographic has commented this. And it's like a veteran who has fought for our country and says that they can't believe that they fought for people like me, for people who are outspoken, who want to say their opinion. And to me, if I'm going to be really candid, I think that's shitty because you fight for the country because you care about the country and people's right for freedom of speech, and you're shaming someone for having a freedom of speech. So it's a little bit of a hypocrisy that's going on, but we see that a lot with white middle-aged men. Sorry, men, that's just how it is a lot of the time in that programming.
That's weird. It's like that's what you should be. That's what you're fighting for, I would think, is so that you would have the freedom to be able to do this, right?
Yeah. They call me airheaded.
Do that.
Yeah, I'm living in the clouds, or I don't understand real life, and all these different things. And so, yeah, that tends to be really interesting. It's never really women. Occasionally, every now and then, like a woman will comment, but usually, once again, like 40s, 50s, but mostly it is middle-aged white men.
It sounds like a lot of guys that don't hang around women very often, so they don't really understand.
Yeah, well, and I also think it comes from a place of like insecurity and a place of where they don't fully understand themselves. And so instead of learning and doing the personal development on themselves, there's a projection of how they actually feel about themselves and how they don't feel free in being able to speak about what they truly want. So it doesn't affect me at all. If anything, it encourages me to keep going.
Yeah, just that ammo. Just keep it going. That makes sense. Plus, it builds the content, too. It's just funny that, like, they say that, but I just saw in a post today, actually, that this couple in Iran, they were dancing, I guess, in front of, they posted a video of dancing in front of this popular memorial that supposedly about freedom in Iran. And then because it went viral and then they were dancing, they got imprisoned for 10 years because of it.
Yeah.
Really?
Because of all these charges brought against them. Yeah, for propaganda, prostitution, I think, and then something else. Yeah, it was like,
Jesus.
what the hell?
It's
Yeah.
ironic say
Yeah.
Jesus
So
there,
it's
but-
like, oh, that. But that's weird that people would say that, like, you're witchcraft, to be able to come out and say that's such old school thinking to not want to come out and talk about it.
Well, it's
Like, you're
old
right. They're
school
probably super
thinking.
insecure in their own way.
Yeah, well, and it's old school thinking, but then also it's ancestral trauma. And so what it's ingrained in people and their DNA based off their ex ancestors and their belief systems that just continue to get passed down, passed down, passed down. And unless someone in the lineage decides to heal it, it's going to continue to be a thought process. And so I firmly believe that someone in my past lineage might have had some witchcraft or was burned for being a witch at the stakes and everything like that, and that it's my duty to now heal that and be the outspoken one.
Yeah, and they probably have probably a super conservative background where they do teach. I mean, in the conservative backgrounds, they do teach women to stay in clothes, like don't really express yourself too much. You need to respect your husband or whatever, and that is a lot of ways that they do teach that. So those people probably grew up in that world too, as well.
That's the world I grew up in.
Where do you
Change
see
you wanna be.
yourself breaking that chain? Like when you think about helping your clients through that kind of work, like how do you see yourself kind of shouldering that mantle?
In what ways do you mean?
Well, so it's like you have it kind of in the respect of yourself, where it's like, hey, you can take that on. And then also for others, like, do you feel the need to be like really outspoken and saying like, hey, this is a way I feel like we can change the next generation?
Absolutely not. And the reason why I say absolutely not is because I don't think it's my decision for someone else to say, hey, this is what you should do to change the generation. For me and my role, it's more as like a space holder of us, like helping them find what their truth is and learning how to communicate that and heal the wounds that are potentially there that they have just ignored for so long. And so if they don't want to be this outspoken person, but they want to change their beliefs for their now children or future children to then change their lineage, like that's totally a thing. But I also don't think it's everyone's duty to be this outspoken person to change the generation. I think it just starts within yourself. And that certain people are chosen in the path to help be the lighthouse to help others shine within themselves.
Oh, baby.
I like that. You're not trying to push it onto people and say that you should be this way, right? I mean, we've seen that a lot with, you get the far left, I'm going to use this as an example, saying you should be this way or we're going to hate you for it. You're expressing yourself and going, hey, if you want to learn more about this, I'm more than willing to help you. That's a really good approach to that, right? I think that's a lot even in like, we talk about it a lot in the psychedelic world. You're not telling people you need to try this. It's going to change your life. It's like, hey, if you want to learn, we're here to help you. But if it's not for you, it's not for you. You don't have to go down that path.
Well, and I think a lot of personal development nowadays too pushes that onto people. And, I that's the one thing I hate about personal development and what it's turning into is that you have to do this or, you want to be this person, you must do this, but not every path is the right path. One path that worked for someone else isn't the path that's going to work for another person, but it's finding the person that you feel safe with to help you explore what's the best path for you. And I think also like me doing psychedelics had a lot of those awarenesses because I fell into the path of personal development of thinking like, this is the way to do it. This is the only way. But with doing psychedelics, especially like microdosing in like day-to-day life, it just allowed me to have like this grander awareness around there is no one path. There's multiple paths and you're allowed to have like this roller coaster and this zippity doo essentially of finding what that path is for you. And you're allowed to take one path and realize, hey, this isn't for me and want to change it and then hop onto another one. There's no right way. There's no wrong way.
What practices do you feel like have been the most beneficial for opening those doors for you?
Psychedelics for sure. I think honestly, microdosing busted me open more than any of my other psychedelic experiences because it really allowed me to connect to myself in a more grounded way versus having this like explosive, oh my God, what a beautiful experience, now learning how to integrate that into my life. And so with that, what's helped me is just doing small things a day. Like I have a motto that is do something today that makes your heart happy. And so with doing that, what that's allowed me to do is figure out who do I want to be today and what's going to make me happy today. But that doesn't have to be the same thing every day. Where sometimes people have these morning routines are like, this is the only routine that works for me and da 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 da. And that's just not the way that I work best. I like to mix things up and I like to have variety in my life. And so by microdosing, it's allowed more of like the creative expression to come out for me to explore what that is.
Beautiful.
Do you carry that into your teachings and through the pleasure portal world? Like there's going to be variations for everybody and for all women and how they're going to express that or how they're going to do things, or do you keep things in line of like, hey, this is how things are. This is what we have in place that you can express yourself through.
Yeah, well, so with pleasure portal, right? Like I say it's orgasm to manifest what you want, but essentially pleasure is different for everyone. And majority of women struggle to orgasm anyways because they don't feel safe in their bodies. And if you feel struggle to orgasm, you're going to feel like you're failing at using this strategy. And so I don't think there's a one-way strategy for manifestation pleasure portal where years ago when I came on the podcast, I guess like a year and a half, like I would have been like, yeah, this is the only way to do it. But now that I've learned so much and through my own personal experience of experiencing pleasure, it's not always an orgasm. What's pleasurable for one person is different for another person. And the same thing that translates into our businesses. And so the one thing that I hate about like the business coaching world is they're saying, only use this strategy. This is the only strategy that will work. This is the only strategy that's going to help you get to 10K a month. When each person is so unique in their own way. And so there's certain strategies that do work, but it's finding within that strategy what is your unique flavor into the strategy. So it is your own strategy, not the same thing that's working for everyone else. And that's kind of what I've noticed over being in the biz coaching world for the last few years before I decided to go off my own is that not every person understands the concept of strategy the exact same as the next person. And what works for one doesn't work for another. And so same thing with pleasure, same thing with business. It's not a one road path. It's finding a path that's best suited for you and to your own unique DNA to help bring your message out, help be the embodied magnet of what it is that you want to attract into your life.
I feel like a lot of people don't. That's such a good point because I feel like a lot of people don't understand that when these coaches come out, you see a lot of it in the business world. The coaches want to keep expressing of like it's my way or the highway because they want to keep retaining the funds. But what people don't understand is really that it's a good foundation. But at some point, your authenticity is only really going to come out once you start doing it on your own. I always like to use in sales, Grant Cardone is a great example of that. Of he's always like, it's my way or the highway. It's my teachings. Do it this way. His earlier books have great examples to get people into sales and how to do it. But it's just repeat information. If you try to just stick to his path, it's going to be tough, I think, to be more successful unless you break away and kind of start figuring out things more on your own. I feel like you see that a lot in the business world. So the path that you are taking, that just sounds like it makes sense.
Yeah. And I mean, so much of it's like, oh, just copy and paste what I'm doing and you're going to see the same success, or find people in like a similar market to you and just copy what they're doing. And, you know, it's going to work for you as well. But what I've noticed is that's just not the case, because if you're copying and pasting what someone else is doing, one, you're not finding the thing that makes you happiest and feels you most alive and what brings you pleasure and enthusiasm. And you're also not spreading out your unique voice. And so when it comes to manifestation pleasure portal, like it's so different and unique, and I could have held on to that and never shared that and made it fluffed up in another way, but I had to lean with what was authentic to me, and that is what helped a creative expression. And also same with pleasure, like finding what for me feels really pleasurable, because the energy that you create with is the energy that you send out into the world. And so if you're not enthusiastic about the content that you're sharing, the offer that you're sharing, about your day and just celebrating that, then what that energy that you just put out of that offer isn't going to be enthusiastic either. And that's why you're not able to attract in clients that you want. It's not why you're not able to attract in what you're wanting to manifest either, because you're not enthusiastic about it. It's just the cut and dry same bullshit as someone else down the road.
It's not always like if you don't let your authenticity out, people just also see through it, right? Like after a while, people just see through the BS that you're not being your authentic self. Why do I want to keep listening to this person if it doesn't look like they're growing at the same time? Like if I've caught up to them at this point, then I need to go somewhere else.
Yeah, and it eventually leads to burnout too, because you're just not excited about it anymore. It doesn't feel like you're sharing you. It feels like you're sharing you're just creating content to make someone else happy. You're not creating content that you would actually enjoy. And so then you don't want to create it. Then you don't want to do your pleasure practice. Then you just don't want to show up for the world. And you're just like, I don't care anymore. And that's just not what life's about. Life's about experiencing the grandest pleasure that there possibly is.
Have you ever had any, when you're talking with women, helping them open up their pleasure portal, that they realize what's holding them back is their partner? And they're like, oh, you're the problem.
I mean, I've experienced that too in my life, not with Colton. But like in previous relationships, it's like as soon as I cut them, as soon as you realize where the dead end is that's holding you back, like it can very well be your partner. And I totally experienced that at some point in my life. And as soon as I cut that person off, it's like this whole door opened up and just magic started to happen. And it's not that you have to always cut off the partner. It's just having more open communication. But before you have open communication with someone else, you have to have that with yourself. And so you have to learn how to be honest with yourself as well.
Do you ever have it where you have to tell a woman that and they're thinking that it's the other people's problem and then it's really themselves because they're not being honest with themselves?
Well,
like they're blaming everyone else for everything that's going on and then not realizing like, hey, you're being pretty pessimistic or something like that,
I never frame it like that. But definitely
it's probably not a good way too.
Definitely not, because at that point someone's going to be defensive and be like, but they are the problem. And sometimes the other person is the problem, right? But there's certain things that you're going to blame in your life. There's 3 things. You can blame yourself, you can blame people, or you can blame the circumstances. And that's the way I describe to them is, okay, if you want to put the blame game here, there's 3 things that you can blame. And then we can break it down into the person of why do you think this person deserves the blame? And essentially, I just want them to find the answer, because the one thing that I constantly say is no one has all the answers. I don't care how much money you invest in someone. I don't care how many books you read, how many podcasts you listen to. No one has all the answers, but everything that they share, all their wisdom and knowledge, is just a tool to help open you up to find the answer and the wisdoms that are within you.
Damn, that was good.
Thank you. It's true, though. Because I think clients are like, can you just give me the answer? And like some things I have an answer, right? But majority of it, it's guiding them to find the answer that is within them, because we all have the answers. We all are created from a single source. It's just having to reconnect to the answers. And that's what investing does. It helps open you up to seeing the tools and resources to connect back to yourself to hear what those answers are.
What have been some of the favorite things that you've invested
That's
in
really good.
for yourself?
I'm really, really grateful that I invested in my sex, love, and relationship coaching certification. Because while I'm not considered I don't consider myself like a sex, love, and relationship coach, so many of the strategies I use and the tools and resources I definitely use in life, and I use with my clients, which has been super helpful. And also learning how to use those tools to tap into like my feminine energy of being able to receive and be creative and share my authentic expression within my business and helping people find that within themselves. So I invested in that thinking I was going to be like a sex coach. And I obviously went a little bit of a different direction, but that was probably some of the best money that I ever spent because I learned who I was at a core way deeper than ever before.
We went like a different direction. Yeah, I mean, like opened a door for a hallway to another door.
Yeah, it gave me the tools to find the answers within me.
Full circle.
Full circle, baby.
$550, Dylan. That's how much. $550 for that right there.
For that right there? Oh, I'll just go open a pleasure portal. I'll find the answer.
I was about
Be
to
right
play
back.
the prices right over here and see if it was higher or lower.
That's awesome. Do you ever have men reach out to you? I know women are probably definitely your clientele, of course, but like, do you ever have men that come to you looking for the answers, or is that?
Yeah, that's a great
I feel like
question.
it's not really a pleasure portal route for men.
Funny enough, some of the first people that ever gave me testimonials on Manifestation Pleasure Portal were men. And I think the reason behind that too, though, is men are much more open when it comes to masturbation or self-pleasure or just talking about sex in general, where women often are a little bit more timid. I think that whole stigma that is changing so much, which is really beautiful. But men are definitely more open to it. So when I started sharing it on social media, men were reaching out to me left and right, thanking me for the strategy. I mean, to help them overcome porn, it helped them overcome just the feeling of needing to have sex just to release or just to have sex. It really allowed them to connect deeper to themselves. It allowed them. I have one person who manifested a paid for Tesla, one guy, and that's really cool. And so while I don't typically get approached by men, but a lot of men do use the strategies that I share, which I think, men also have feminine energy within them. And when men can learn to tap into their own feminine energy, they can create so much life as well within their work or whatever it is that they want to do.
Seems like women and men using masturbation to manifest seems like you were saying, men are a lot more open about it, but it seems like to them it's a whole nother reason of why to bring it back in, right? And say, hey, there's a reason behind this. There's a reason you have their feelings. Whereas women, they are kind of already know that it's powerful. They already know it's there. They just don't know how to express it. I feel like they don't understand how to go down that path. They just want the guidance. Whereas men are like, I already know it's powerful already. I just don't know how to lock that in.
Yeah, well, and women aren't necessarily taught how to connect to their bodies or anything about their vaginas. Most women don't actually they've never even looked at their own vaginas, so it's very much of like a taboo thing for women. But what's really beautiful is how many women come to me and are interested in exploring their bodies more. And it's not like I sit there on Zoom in our one-on-one calls and do that with them. That's more of like homework assignments. But it's helping them break down the paths of what they've always been taught, especially like high achieving women. What I've noticed when I look back at my past as well of, I would call myself a high achiever, is that I'm in a hyper masculine energy. And so that means no time for pleasure. It means I'm just working all day, every day. I only see success at the end. I'm results driven. Fuck the action. I'm just going to take all the action that I need to, but it's not aligned action. And eventually that just leads to burnout. And so they're just on this cycle of burnout and overworked and stressed and making sacrifices and wondering if it's even worth it. And my whole thing with those women is I want to help them reintroduce pleasure in their life and connect to their bodies, because a woman's body is very intuitive. I mean, you literally birth out of your vagina. Like, women create life. Yes, men, you help with the creation of life with your sperms, but women, you birth it. And so I just want to help more women birth their creative powers and their intuitive visions and really make that come to life while being successful entrepreneurs and moms and doing whatever it is that they want to do while connecting to their bodies. Because it is truly such a powerful force.
Would you say it's almost similar to what that brings to mind is almost when they're so hyper focused on their career, maybe their family, they forget about themselves. And I feel like we all put off like an aura, a vibration, third eye, of course, that we all know, but they forget about that. And I feel like this is what helps kind of bring that, hey, you need to take care of yourself too, as well. You're taking care of everything else, which are important and all these different things. But without you, which is the foundation to all this, it's all just going to fall apart, right? And so it sounds like this is helping reblossom that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because especially when you are a mom, like, obviously, I'm not a mom yet, obviously, as y'all know, but the listeners obviously don't know that yet. I'm not a mom, but I can only imagine how hard being a fucking mom is, plus trying to have a successful career, whether that's working for someone else or running your own business. And so I could totally see how they fall last in this play of taking care of themselves, because as the woman, in the feminine, it is the nurturer, it is the caretaker. So in this natural instinct, they're just taught, take care of everyone else around you except yourself. Even in, I saw this article, I don't even remember. I think I saw on Instagram, it's like an old news article of like 1940s or 50s. And it was like how for women of how to take care of your husband. And it was like, make sure you look pretty when he comes home. Make sure the kids aren't wound up. Make sure you got all their energy out. Make sure dinner's ready. You have a drink ready for him. Like all these things. And that is just a stigma of what it was. And so, yeah, women forget to take care of themselves because it's not taught to them. It's taught to literally be the nurturer and mother to everyone else but themselves, which leads them into feeling this path of desperation and just like they don't want to have sex. They are like, I don't care about my pleasure. I don't even know who I am. They lose themselves along the way. And so, yeah, a lot of what I like to focus on as well is like redefining who they are and who they want to be and reconnecting to that and finding out what the truth is and helping them realize you are the most important thing to take care of first, because when you're taken care of, everything is taken care of.
Do you find too as well, like, I feel like masturbation also has a bad stigma in relationships in itself. I've talked with people that think that if they're masturbating in the relationship, there must be something wrong. Like you're not connecting with your partner. Whereas I feel like, but I've also talked with people as they go, well, I still connect with my partner sexually and have everything's fine, but I need my own private time sometimes to do things. You ever have that conversation with people? It sounds like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm laughing because I have a personal share that I'm going to share with this. You probably know what I'm going to share, but maybe you don't. I definitely think the stigma around it is that it is something is wrong or they're cheating. And that is also what if they grew up in a religious household, like what they're taught is that masturbation is a form of cheating in a relationship. I think it's healthy to do alone. Now, if you're in a relationship and you and your partner are not having any intimate times together and just masturbating, there is an obvious problem that's happening. But if you're having an intimate time and then you're masturbating as well, like I don't see anything wrong with it. I think it's really powerful. Like that's my way to connect to like my manifestation and like to myself and my pleasure, because the pleasure you have by yourself is always different than the pleasure you have with your partner. And sometimes I wait till Colton goes to bed and I'll masturbate while he's sleeping next to him.
Well, you got to share the whole spectrum of that experience then.
No, because sometimes you're sleeping. Sometimes I'll just be scrolling on TikTok.
Yeah, so it's not just that. It's like I interrupt you doing it.
That's when you're not sleeping yet, though. It is. It's like I'm in the middle of it. I am right there. And he just doesn't know because
how am I supposed to know?
Because half the time, I never know he's going to go to bed. And I usually do wait till he's going to bed. And the only time I don't wait till you go to bed is because I'm like, oh no, he's still gonna he's gonna read longer. He's gonna scroll on TikTok a little bit longer. He's never gonna know. And
Women can do it so covertly. A man does it.
covertly.
It's like we're putting together a Subway sandwich. You know what I mean? Like you're hearing the sauces hit the meats. You know what I'm saying?
And it's the person making the sandwich. You know, they're just staring at you like meat, cheese, mayo. All right.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, if he ever interrupts me, and he obviously has no idea, I'm still naturally, I'm pissed off. I'm like, he's like trying to hug me and love on me. He goes like, tell me goodnight. I'm like, get the fuck
I'm just
off
trying
me.
to give you a good night kiss. You
I'm
would
like,
talk
get
about going
off.
from feminine to masculine real fucking quick.
Because it's never like when I'm just starting. It's like when I'm almost there. I'm
Yeah,
like,
my spidey
I'm
sense
at
is
the
like,
tip
oh,
of-
let me rob this experience.
the tip of the iceberg. Let me just get this. The
Well,
volcano
he's
is about
feeling
to
that
erupt.
pleasure portal open.
That could be what it
He's
is.
like,
My
I gotta
intuition
get
could
part of
be
that.
drawn to the energy.
It's like he puts
You're
this
putting off
topper
so
over
much
the
energy.
volcano. Oh my god, it's the most annoying thing in the world. But to go back to your question of masturbating, I think it's very healthy.
Just a little
to do.
kick in the bed, like
Um,
and she's almost there. It's almost there. Kick.
and time to interrupt. Well, even I'll tell Colt, like if I have a pleasure practice in the middle of the day, because pleasure practices are part of my routine care with myself. And I'll tell him, I'm like, I'm going to go do a pleasure practice. Do not interrupt me. Don't do it. Don't even think about it. And I will
true.
literally lock the bedroom
God
door
bless
so he
being
can't
able-
get in. And so I think there's a layer
God
of
bless
it
being
as
able
well.
to work from home.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. You know, that 2 p.m. afternoon pleasure practice.
You're like selling this program to somebody who works in like an office job and they're like sneaking away to the bathroom at 2 p.m.
You know, I don't tell people to do that. I tell them to figure out the best time in their schedule to have a pleasure practice.
No, I mean, it could be like a cool thing for
Plus-
companies to start thinking about.
You want your employees to come back happier? Have masturbating portals,
Little masturbation
little
rooms,
pods,
Ma-
like those nap pods. but for
masturbation room,
masturbating.
little portal.
like at the airport, the getaway pods.
Yeah,
it's
they've got like tissues
like
and
there's like a
lotion and everything.
They
need.
might
like
as
a
well
red
have that thing like
box
full on
bio-
saran wrap.
biohazard. Biohazards go in here.
Employees would come back so much happier. I mean, literally, when you orgasm,
Instead
you
of
are
afternoon
at the peak.
naps.
You're at a peak vibrational state of like, wow, I am. The BS meter in your mind goes off. You are like on top of the fucking world. I can accomplish anything when you orgasm. So imagine doing that for like
Jerry
a
comes
big
back
sales
with
call.
Jerry comes back with a big smile on his face. He's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Close a massive sale
You had
right
a call
afterwards.
here at 2:00.
Sold.
Now, look, I want both of you to remember the thoughts that you're having right now. Because I'm just curious if you've heard of the news anchor that was caught masturbating live on TV.
No, that's excessive.
This was like for a major newscast not that long ago.
I've never heard that.
They took a break. He like went to a different screen, but was still on the Zoom and whipped it out, started getting after it. And they came back from commercial. Oh.
Wow.
That's a little too risky for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like,
But so he was at the desk doing it? That
No,
means
no,
there's a
he was like
whole-
in his bedroom,
There's
and
still-
so it didn't go live on TV like they caught it, right? But it was like he was like the weather guy or something like that. I don't know.
why didn't he turn his camera off?
There's a lot of I
Why
don't know.
didn't he just wait?
It's a good redemption story though. If you ever look it up, he's back on the news.
Well, as he should be.
He's back? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Someone was like, "Get over here, man. We got you."
Yeah, no, they saw what he was
ESPN's like,
working
"Get
with.
over
They were
here."
like, "Yeah, we can work with that. That's
All
good.
that meat, bring it on back.
Yeah, nice size, buddy. Good job."
Bring all that meat.
He gets hired
No,
as
that
an
was-
Arby's spokesman.
Oh my god.
This is Steven. He has the meats.
Oh
You
my
might
god.
have heard me from the Weather Channel. Well, I make it rain.
Oh my
That's-
god.
Hilarious. Man, There was, I remember too, let's just speaking of like a little off topic, but some people that like left their camera on, someone left their mic on at our company one time and was just like on a full company call and was just shitting on the company during the call, talking to his wife. I don't know why we have these meetings. They're so fucking stupid. So like legit just shitting on the company. And they were like trying to tell him like, yo, and he was not paying attention whatsoever.
Oh,
and
talk about
did have
digging your
another
grave.
time, someone on the call, it was a woman on the call was having sex. This happened another time on a company call, was having sex and had their mic on. And of course, they couldn't hear us, so it just kept going and going.
But you can mute people too. That's the thing I don't get. Like you could just, there's a button right there.
Absolutely mute people.
People
But even
don't know
then,
that. It's weird. I
My
get
anxiety
it.
would be way too
just
high
don't know
of getting caught. I'd be like, no, we can wait 20 minutes until we get off. And then you can be as loud as you want.
I'm gonna say right now, you're a liar. You're a dirty liar.
I've never once tried to have sex during a meeting.
I can tell you right now, you have.
When did I try and have sex during a meeting?
You didn't try. You did, baby.
When did I have sex during a meeting?
When did we? Okay, first off, so
Well,
this isn't like a.
When did we have sex during a meeting?
I
genuinely don't
I
remember.
can't remember the exact date, but I do remember the coursing paranoia of let's make sure that thing's on mute.
Well, I guess my anxiety was turned off that day. Because I don't remember
I feel like
that.
everyone's had that during the pandemic. I feel like everyone's had that during the pandemic. Like,
that is what sex does to people. It's like it turns off all the logic. Think about what men alone, like women are definitely in the category too, but men will do some very dumb things to chase the
pussy. You can say the word. It's okay.
Well, I was looking for like something a little wittier, but yeah, pussy works.
The poutine.
Yeah, the hoo-ha.
The hoo-ha. The coochie.
What else
The
you
hot
got?
dog bun.
Yeah, 'cause I don't know what's allowed here. Where's the line at, right?
Flour. I don't know.
The flower. That's my favorite thing when you ask me to refer to it in third person. Talk to her. Like I'm like
I feel like
having a conversation with her vagina, not her, but her vagina.
Ladies, if you're listening, and men, first off, ladies, I'm going to talk to you first. If you don't make the guy who is about to enter you set an intention before he sticks his penis inside you, you're doing it wrong. Make him set an intention. Men, if you don't set an intention before you stick your dick inside of her, you are about to enter the grandest portal of your entire life. Set a fucking intention.
And you can be real about the intention. Be like, hey, I'm gonna fuck the shit out of you.
It's an intention.
It's real.
But it also opens up a layer of communication that if during it something is like, I don't like this, you've already set an intention. You are in this open container. Now you feel safe to communicate whatever it is because you know what the intention is during the process.
It's setting a little bit of a rhythm, a little bit of a rhyme before you grab your bobsled.
Isn't that post nut clarification? Like
Intention?
Post nut clarity, not clarification.
I mean, same thing. But
clarity, whatever. Post nut clarity.
Well,
is
it's like
you
I picture an
think this is
accountant,
someone,
like
and then you do it, and you're like,
for clarification, I couldn't help but notice.
no, because I mean, yeah, I look at post nut clarification over here.
Clarity.
I look at post nut clarity as like the emotions are gone in a man when it comes to post nut clarity because sex for men and women are very different as a whole. Like men can just have sex turn off their emotions, and women say they can, but biologically it's just not a thing. All you're doing is suppressing them. And post nut clarity for men is like, oh, I just wanted to have sex. But if you know that afterwards as well, and it wasn't to actually connect with this person and explore this relationship, and that's what you said, that is your job to be honest. And if you aren't honest after that, fuck you. I'm just kidding. That was aggressive. But honestly, shame on you.
I say fuck you.
Fuck you.
Well, I think there's definitely men though that think they want to do that, and they go in with that purpose, and then all of a sudden they come out afterwards like, actually, I feel different now than I thought I did. Before.
Because they're thinking with the wrong head.
And then that's the clarity.
No, they're just thinking with the wrong head.
Are they though?
Men
Maybe
are-
it just
men are very
maybe
horny.
it just like they thought so.
You know what's funny is that women have a naturally higher libido than men. So
Tell me
women
more.
are actually hornier than men, but because women have been shamed so much for sexuality, their bodies just like cannot feel safe enough to express in that way, so they don't allow themselves to be as horny. Where men,
I feel like there's
No.
a process to it. Takes a little longer. Takes a little longer of a process.
depends.
And I can go behind the 7-Eleven, knock it out. Right?
Sure.
Setting.
Dylan, if you're going behind a 7-Eleven and knocking it out, we got to have a conversation, dude. At this point, you're like,
I'm not. I'm just saying there's definitely men that probably are definitely doing it, right? But women are like, I need my time. Need the space. Like, I mean, you were saying that earlier, right? Like you're next to Colton and you're like, I have my time. I need to do this. Whereas like if Colton really needed to, I'm sure he could go right there, knock it out and be fine. Done with it. He
it's
could
not that I
look you
need
in the eyes
time.
while
I
he
can
did
have
it.
3 orgasms, and the one time that Colton is having is masturbating and having one. Like, it's not a time thing. It happens pretty fast because I feel very safe in my body. Everybody's body is different, right? But like, it definitely is going to take longer for Colton to masturbate than me to masturbate. But
And I need a mirror. Like I have to like stare at myself while I do it.
I can't be around him. He won't let me see.
That's not true.
Only once.
I felt like it was, a couple times.
Nope, only once, and I had to beg you.
That was not
That's not
true at all.
That's not me shaming you
You're
either. You just felt.
fabricating.
I'm not fabricating. It has been only once.
You're getting this confused with watching me pee.
He definitely hates me watch pee.
I'm
I
a
think
shy
that's
peer,
weird.
man.
I think that's weird.
I don't like anybody seeing me pee.
I don't think that's an issue. You're like,
I think it's weird.
it's all the same place. We all got to do it.
I gotta do it. You're sticking your dick inside me, and I can't watch you pee. That's fine.
That's not you can't.
I can only see your butt, anyways.
Well, it's defecation period. I don't like anyone watching me defecate. Shit in a bucket? That's fine. If I'm sitting
you
down,
even close the bathroom door all the way when you take a shit.
because you can't see the poop come out my butt.
Sure.
If I sat down when I peed, I'd have no problem with it.
Then you should sit down when you pee.
I'm
like a
not
lady.
sitting down while I pee. I got this equipment for a reason. I'm just gonna, do it the way I feel safe in my
sitting
body.
down when you pee. I'm going to say this: sitting down when you pee, especially at 3 a.m. after you've woken up, underrated. Underrated. I don't want to be.
You got to
standing there
install that little
half
mushroom
asleep
light I
trying to
gave
fuck
you.
in. I do.
mushroom
I have
light
it
is
in
nice.
there, but it's not that. It's like when I'm wobbly, I'm half asleep. I could just sit down,
Bum ass knee.
let it out, and then be like, wake up an hour later, be done with it, and go back to bed.
An hour.
I'm joking because you fall asleep on the toilet. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm like this. I'm on the toilet. I fall asleep. But what I'm saying is you stand up. I'm all wobbly. I'm missing. It might be going around the toilet. I got to clean that later. It's annoying, right? Like you just sit down, done, go back to bed. You don't wake up to your partner yelling at you like, God damn it. Fuck.
Well, so
Clean
there's
this
a
up
couple
yesterday.
things at play here too, though. So like one, we're really having a conversation around safety, but the other is just how infrequently I masturbate. So
Yeah, you actually don't masturbate very often, I feel like. Where I do very regularly. But once again, so masturbation for men and women, I also think is different. Like, I'm over here sticking a jade egg up my pussy, and you're just whacking your meat off. Where my jade egg is
well, most of the time you're masturbating, you're doing it with the jade egg in you. You're not like rubbing the bean.
both. Yeah, but the jade egg,
Like what percentage is the egg involved?
probably 77 to 80. 70 to 80.
Really?
When I do my during the day practices.
Oh,
yeah.
for sure.
But I don't really masturbate that much at nighttime anymore.
Well, I find like because if I was to masturbate more often, it lowers my desire to want to take that out on you and to have that connection and intimacy there. So like that was just kind of something I noticed, and I was like, it's like for what? Right? Like, why would I want that?
Yeah, well, I think also like I think semen retention
noticed
is
that
really
too.
important for men to practice. Where it's like getting to the point of orgasm but not coming and ejaculating, that can actually increase the man's chances of having multiple orgasms during sex as well. It can also increase your stamina. It can increase your creativity. It can increase your testosterone. It can make you feel like more energized. Where I'm going to speak personal experience, and I'll say women, because I'm basing my experience off clients I've worked with and my other friends who are also in this industry, is that as women, I personally feel like the more I masturbate, connect to my body, the sexier I feel and the more that I want to be intimate with you.
Yeah. I can see that.
I definitely agree with you, Colton, though, on that. Like, the more, like, a man is masturbating, it definitely, like, depletes the testosterone a little bit to want to have sex with your woman, because it's almost like that, like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, that pleasure has been relinquished and it's fine now and I don't need it. Whereas I still want to make my partner happy, but it might not be through this way now. Like, I don't need it. So why would my partner need it? I can find another way to do it in a way. So I think that's the biggest issue with porn, right? Like, because men go to porn so quickly and can resolve their issues so quickly so many times. And then that's why the relationship hurts with their partner almost. Whereas I feel like for women, it's not, and for men, it's more of like the stress relief. Get this off, like, get this angst out of me, this testosterone. Whereas women, that's not really what it's about. It's more of, like you said, feeling more comfortable with yourself and building the confidence.
Yeah. I would compare it to as well, like, men feel more depleted when they masturbate as when women have sex with low vibrational men. Where when women have sex with low vibrational men or men that just aren't essentially the right partner for them, it takes the woman's vibrant energy from her, leaving her feel depleted, while it makes him feel emasculated. It makes him feel like strong. It makes him feel, they kind of, that's why men walk around with this big ego of like, yeah, I am the man that I just had sex with her. Where women are just like, kind of feel like gross and grimy. And so when men masturbate, they don't have that energy to pull from, which is why sex is such a sacred thing. And that's why I believe in the power of intentional masturbation. And so if men were to stop watching porn or things like that when it comes to masturbating, and instead used intentionality and using it towards like a higher purpose, then they would actually experience less energy depletion and more energizing when they masturbated.
What do you think would happen if all porn just was all of a sudden gone? Like, no more magazines, Playboy's gone, Pornhub, all that. Like, it just disappeared, right? And everyone's like, what happened?
Men wouldn't know what to do with
Now
themselves.
So we're in a
Start-
nuclear holocaust, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, I just don't know what men would do.
Yeah,
with
like,
themselves.
internet's gone.
I would
Internet's
say women
gone.
too.
Magazines burned.
A lot of women watch porn also to get off, but I think people would have a sense of sexual frustration, or they're just all fucking each other like rabbits because they don't have anything else to watch, and they're like, why the fuck not? And then everyone is walking around with this shit ass energy.
I mean, for what it is, I think the wide swath of porn is like pretty grimy, broadcast, a fantasy that whatever appeals to, people's fantasies. But there's also other sides of it where, hey, like, there is educational content, there is erotic stuff that serves a need and a purpose. I just think it's like, that's a tough thing to kind of unravel, as far as like people finding community, finding the thing that they're into, versus it just like really being a dopamine button that they're just like smashing and it gets out of control. It's like, I don't know that there's any ability to really disseminate that line. I've heard porn stars say that in like certain documentaries, clips or whatever, like on Vice. And they're like, how do you feel about your profession? They're like, oh, I really like I'm proud that I can help someone blow off steam at the end of their day. It's like, yeah, but like, what's that also perpetuating in that person day after day doing that, right? And just, it's what you kind of hear. Like, I don't know.
I don't necessarily think porn needs to disperse.
I guess that's with anything,
either.
right? Like moderation.
Yeah. Like, I think porn does serve a purpose, and there's ethical porn. I think it's when you're just viewing porn to just get off. It's like anything in life. It's partying until the sun comes up, doing whatever drug, or drinking without a purpose. It's all low vibrational at the end of the day, but if you have an intention behind it, and it's like, even if the intention is like, I just want to let off steam, at least you're setting the intention behind it. And that's why, like, when it comes to like having sex with a partner, like setting an intention is really powerful for the container as well. So it's just like setting intention in anything that you do. Like, if someone wants to watch porn and that is it, I just can recommend, I'm like, yeah, just set the attention. Like, what is the intention behind watching porn and getting off? What is that going to serve you, and how is that going to benefit you? If it's like just fucking because I want to, sure. Because when we start setting intentions in different areas of our life, we also start to realize where we're intentionless.
Would you say if it starts becoming, like, if there's no intention, right, it starts becoming more habit forming? You're like, you have no idea why you're doing it. You just have this intention to do it now. Like, your brain's like, we got to do this, I guess, right? Like, it's like someone that's hooked to the bottle. There's no thought process to it. They're just like, oh, I got off work today, I'm going to hit this bottle now. I feel like that's when it starts leaving the I guess the pleasure portal, right? We're leaving that space now, and it's now just a pleasure. It's not going towards anything.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, if you are just doing it because, then you're not able to notice where your shortcomings are. So, like, when it comes to like drinking and setting an intention, like, I always like to set an intention when I do decide to drink. Like, what's my intention? And if you continuously set intention in everything that you do, you'll start to notice where you're just doing it for no fucking reason. And then you'll start to notice where it's a problem versus just like an enjoyment to let off steam. And so if someone's just doing it every day, like, how can you actually understand like where maybe there's an addiction, or maybe it's hurting you versus just like a guilty pleasure here and there? Like, I love reality TV shows. I know that shit's bad, but my intention behind it isn't to have some learning educational content. It's strictly pleasure. Like, I just want to watch these real housewives get in arguments and sit back and watch the drama. That's the intention. So it's like, whatever you want to do, just set an intention behind it so you know what you're bringing into it.
Flavor Flav. That was that good trash TV right there.
That was
I love
quality.
trash TV, man. I gotta be honest. Not everything's got to be so spiritual and mindful all the time. I think that's also a part of the thing, that personal development and spirituality and all the psychedelic hippie woo-woo shit that's kind of going south is, not that it's going south, but like the areas that it goes south is when people don't, like, forget they're here to have a human experience. Like, allow yourself to live and do shit that you want. Like, have the spicy margarita and then drink a green juice. Stay up till the sun comes up doing whatever drugs you want, and have nights where you go to bed at 9 p.m. Like, it's balance. Like, have the human experience in your spiritual experience.
That's a great point. I back in the day, I used to date somebody that was like very religious, and every time had to be like, it's for God and we're here for that, you know, like this is a religious match, whatever it is. And I was like, why can't it just be for us at this point? You know? I guess we could do that sometimes, but like, why can't it just be like, let's have a great time ourselves? You know, why we have to think about this higher power every time, you know, which I get, you know, you're opening up spirituality. Like there's a point to that in sometimes, but sometimes it's like, let's just fuck. I don't understand like why it has to mean something sometimes, you know?
Yeah. Like when Colin says intention, sometimes he's like, I just want to fuck the shit out of you. It's just the intention. And that's fine. It doesn't have to be like, I want to have this loving and connective experience with you, because you don't want that shit all the time. Nobody does. And if you say you do, you're lying. you're lying, because sometimes you just want to be choked and fuck the shit out of you. Maybe not choked. I don't know what you're into. But like that is the human experience. Sometimes you just want to get blackout drunk. Have your human experience. That's where it's like the intention setting is like, I'm being human and I want to live my life, but I'm not going to let this source control me.
That's why, what was it? Those texts in college at 3 a.m. going out. Someone will hit. Let's go.
You up?
You up?
You up? Gotta release some stuff. You can come over.
Oh,
I'm
God.
trying to set some intentions.
Well, what kind of intentions would you leave them with,
Slow you
babe?
down.
So that's a great question. I think one thing I'll kind of come into it like a business standpoint first is the intention of, is what you're doing feeling authentic to you, or are you doing this because this is what everyone else is doing? And if it doesn't feel authentic to you and you're just copying what everyone else is doing, ask yourself why. How is that going to give you purpose and fulfillment when you're just living life like everyone else instead of using your own unique voice? Can't stand out from the crowd if you don't allow your voice to sing. And then the intention behind just fucking life and just experiencing, I think, is just a stop thinking that answers are everywhere but yourself. I think that is a huge thing that I would love to leave, is that stop seeking for answers everywhere else but you, but seek for the tools that will help you find the answers that are within you and will help you open that portal to what they are. That's it. That's what I
Beautifully
leave
said.
with. Thank you.
Very well said.
All right, guys. Well, hey, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to share it with someone that you think would enjoy it as well. And it really helps the algorithm if you interact with this content. That means just leaving us a review. If you're on Spotify, rating it whatever stars you think is appropriate. Wherever you digest your podcast, just give us a rating so we can bump up in the rankings. Otherwise, we love you guys. See you on Instagram. Where?
You can find me on Instagram at Embodied with Abbey, Abbey, Abbey like the road.
Anywhere else you want to plug? OnlyFans?
No, I don't have an OnlyFans. Sorry, y'all. I've been trying to get Colton to do that. He won't do that with me. Just
Not
kidding.
true.
I'm just kidding. I am also on TikTok. And then I'm sure we'll link my website in the show notes.
See you next week, guys.
Bye.
Go have an orgasm. Peace.